I am very excited to introduce Parin Heidari, who is going to be giving us a talk on how to transition to full-time NFT artistry. Parin? Sorry.
No worries. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is my very first solo stage that I've ever been to, so if I make any mistake in English, I'm sorry. This is not my first language, but I'm excited to see you all here and honored to be here. So I tell you a little bit about my story, who I am, where I come from, and how I became an NFT artist. Because I know maybe so many of you have this question, like, what is even an NFT artist? What do you do in your life? I'm Parin. I was born in Iran. I studied robotics and engineering, like, for so many years. And I always wanted to be a full-time artist. That was my dream as a kid, especially. When I was 3 years old, I always wanted to be a full-time artist. And my parents were happy with me doing art, but they were like, no way, you can be a full-time artist, because in the Middle East especially, families, they care a lot about degrees, and they always encourage you to become a doctor or mathematician or lawyer. So art is always cool as a hobby, but as a full-time was like, no, full-time job, not accepted. When I was 18, after studying at high school, studying robotics and all sort of like science studies, I decided to study art, and obviously my parents were not happy with that, but I just did that, and it started. My art journey started when I was 18. Still, especially in Iran, it wasn't really easy to get paid as an artist. You always had to fight a lot of injustice as well in the society as an artist woman. And I never gave up because I always wanted to continue like pushing, dreaming to become a full-time artist. I moved to Italy when I was 23, and I studied industrial design, so it's still between engineering and art, but my dream was always just to paint. I always wanted to paint, and I always wanted to sell my paintings, have my paintings all over the world, and it wasn't easy. There were a lot of obstacles for that. There were a lot of no, you cannot in my way as well. But I still like did that. I became full-time graphic designer, which is still art, but it wasn't necessarily like fully art. It had design, and I always had to listen to the clients. I always had to do things that they wanted me to do, till 2.5 years ago. It was actually before I started my NFTs journey. During COVID, I had like 6 months in quarantine to decide what I wanted to do, and I always wanted to do art. So I said, okay, let's start focusing on your art. Let's not do any graphic design anymore and just like do your art. So in my art, what I do one-line drawings. And by one-line drawings, it means that when I start drawing, I cannot lift my pen. So the drawing has to be finished with only one go. And I'm ambidextrous, so I usually draw with 2 hands. And I just worked on that. I worked a lot on my Instagram, on my own marketing, introduced my art to the whole world of social media. And it was in April 2021 that, I don't know how many of you have ever heard of Clubhouse, but my NFTs journey started on Clubhouse. We were a lot of artists from so many countries around the world, mostly in quarantine, lockdown, and we found each other. If you heard of Bored Ape Yacht Club or any of these PFP projects, I was there when they all were born. So those days, even the word NFT was very unclear. I didn't even know what that meant, but I just realized it's a very cool concept of using technology of blockchain and have ownership of your art, which again, I didn't know anything about that. My dream was to become a full-time artist. That's all that I wanted to be. But NFTs introduced a lot of cool things to my life. First of all, it was its community. If you hear the word NFTs, you hear a lot about community. People keep talking about the community is important. If you have a project, if you have a PFP project, or if you have art, or if you're an artist, community is very, very, very important. And people that I met 2 years ago, that some of them are just here, which is very exciting. Hi. We all became a community. We all became a family together. And we started supporting each other. We started giving value to each other's art that maybe for so many years people ignored it. In my life, it took me 30 years, at least 30 something years, to have confidence to say, this is my art. I'm ambidextrous, I do one-line drawing, and this is my art, and it's more than enough. It's just perfect. But it took me many, many years, and thanks to the NFTs, it happened. Thanks to the NFTs, technology of blockchain, I got to know a lot of collectors that in traditional art world, it wasn't really possible. So whenever I had exhibitions, I had my shows, and I even didn't know who collected my pieces. I didn't know anything about that. I was like, well, my pieces are sold, 50% of that sales come to me, which is great, but I don't even know what happens to my paintings. Now the great thing about NFT is whoever, like collectors, when they collect a piece of art, you can track them, you can see which wallet your art is in, or you can see them on Twitter and Instagram, have a one-on-one conversations with them and understand why they are interested in your art. You can learn from them, or you can talk to them. Also, there were a lot of collaborations that happened in the NFTs that I worked with musicians that for many years I used to listen to their music, Timbaland or like Christian Burns, all sort of like musicians that I only listened to them and I could get to know them in the NFTs, work with them. Or Time magazine, which is, I was 12 back in Iran, and I was just waiting for like 3 months for each issue of Time magazine to come to Tehran and collect it. And 25 years later, the president of Time magazine reached out to me because of the NFTs, and he invited me to be a part of their first collection. All of that, again, happened because I never gave up on my dreams. A lot of people told me, oh, you come from Iran, so many obstacles you have, borders, politics, money, you're a girl from Iran, you cannot do this. But I never listened to them. And when I hear people, maybe here like in more first world countries, they say, oh, we have some issues, we have problems, we have obstacles. I'm like, no, these are not problems at all. Like, don't think that because of that you cannot reach your dreams. Just keep working on that, keep being smart about your decisions, don't waste your time, and just like move forward in the path that is yours. So how to become a full-time NFT artist is a very interesting subject to talk about, and I'm pretty sure in like 2 minutes and 15 seconds I cannot talk about it fully, but all that I can say is as much as you can, just learn about it. Create your art. It doesn't matter what the market is, because market goes up and down. We all experience so many ups and downs, so many failures as well, but it's like any other thing in our lives. Keep creating art, keep doing what you're doing, keep being authentic. That's, I think, the most important thing. And just get to know as many artists as you can, as many collectors as you can, human level, just talk to them, just get to know them. Use all sort of social media. Twitter is mainly for NFTs, but also use Instagram as your showcase. Just show your art to the whole world. And I'm pretty sure if you all want to really do that, it's possible. I had all sort of impossible things in my life, and they didn't stop me from being here. I couldn't even have visa to come here last year for NFT.NYC. Like, it took me 3 years for one visa for like 5 days to be here, but it happened. So when people think that they cannot, I think they just need to read a little bit more about like more inspiring stories, and just maybe take a break, drink some water, and then start doing things that they love to do again and again. And yeah, I would love to talk more, but I have 52 more seconds to talk. So I'm open to any questions if you have in like the next 47 seconds. But if not, I'm glad that this time I had a lot of people that I could talk to, which is great. And I hope that I could inspire you even for a second. So I hope so. And yes, if you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you have any questions later, I'm more than happy to answer. And thanks for listening.